Happy weekend from Team Brief on My Media Prime Television. We are glad you honored the invitation once again for us to dig several layers beneath some of the major headlines that the papers carry today in Cameroon. On today's edition of the paper, we are revisiting the disappearance or the death of the Secretary General at the Southwest Regional Governor's Office, Armadou, who reportedly died at a medical facility in Douala following a brief illness. We shall equally be talking about government that has hurriedly disbursed over 200 million francs CFA to quench down the anger of the angry population in Bias region of origin, the population that reportedly blocked the route, citing lack of electricity and poor route networks in that part of the country. Let's find out what the French newspapers have for us this morning with Etape Quentin. Bonjour Etape, bon week-end à toi.
Merci Lasha, bonjour. Il faut dire que la presse est abondante ce matin puisqu'on retrouve plusieurs thématiques, la politique, l'économie, la santé. Mesdames et messieurs, bonjour à vous également, vous qui êtes scottiers sur ma Media Prime TV, la télévision de l'Afrique, de Eyes of Africa. Tout de suite, on commence avec cette grande revue de presse bilingue avec le quotidien Mutation qui nous renseigne sur les actes inciviques menés par le Rassemblement démocratique du peuple camerounais, et bien c'est devant lesquels le patron du Etape est muet comme une cape. C'est d'ailleurs ce que nous propose le journal à sa grande une ce matin. Si l'on s'en tient à ce tabloïd, l'on peut lire que les troubles à l'ordre public qui ont émaillé les opérations de renouvellement des bureaux des organes de base du parti au pouvoir, et particulièrement l'incendie de la résidence du sous-préfet de Benvis, n'ont curieusement pas suscité la réaction du Minat. Voilà une information à retrouver dans les colonnes des pages 8 et 9 de ce journal en kiosque ce matin. Poursuivons avec Essengan qui nous parle justement des micmacs sur le projet Bogo. Pousse le MITP commande un gré révisé pour Rosuba. Et bien plus loin, l'on constate que pour recevoir la copie de la lettre frauduleuse envoyée à la banque, à la BAT, les membres de la commission spécialisée convoqués ce jour par le ministre des Travaux publics après 15 mois d'analyse des offres conclues par la sélection de Gito Gostruzionite Général Nigeria LAT comme adjudicataire. La volte-face d'Emmanuel Nganou Djoumissi fait suite aux révélations des Singans sur ces manœuvres visant à écraser, imposer la Réunigienne ou bien la Zoruba, pourtant éliminée pour irrégularité et sa surfacturation, autant pour moi, de 10 milliards de francs CFA. Une information que vous retrouverez dans les colonnes des pages 6 et 7 de ce journal en kiosque ce matin. Poursuivons avec le tri hebdomadaire Le Soir qui nous renseigne notamment sur la 35e journée mondiale de l'habitat sous le signe de l'accroissement de la production des matériaux de construction. C'est d'ailleurs ce dont nous parle le journal à la une supérieure. Si l'on croit le développement de ce tabloïd, le ministre de l'Habitat et du Développement urbain, Célestine Kétia-Koutès, a donné un point de presse mercredi 28 septembre dernier dans le cadre du lancement officiel des activités marquant la célébration de la journée mondiale de l'habitat. C'était à l'hôpital de ville de Yaoundé en présence des acteurs majeurs contribuant au développement de ces secteurs. Un dossier à retrouver dans la page 2 de ce journal en kiosque ce matin. Puis terminons avec le quotidien Éco-Santé qui s'intéresse justement à la santé et nous propose à sa grande une prix de la recherche en médecine traditionnelle. Voici les lauréats d'après le développement soumis de ce journal. Chercheurs indépendants, ils ont trouvé des molécules pour certains déjà homologués pour d'autres en attente d'une autorisation de mise sur le marché. Ils font la fierté du Cameroun dans le cadre de la recherche des solutions des solutions endogènes de plusieurs maladies. C'est une information que vous retrouverez bien sûr dans les pages 4 et 5 de ce journal en kiosque ce matin. C'est l'assistance de ce qui est de la revue de presse en langue française. Place actuellement à la découverte des autres tabloïds en anglais avec toi, Lasha. Bonjour.
Bonjour une fois de plus, mon ami Etape Quentin. Thank you to televiewers for staying with us this morning. Let's kickstart with the Lone English Daily, the Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post is focusing on the recent action taken by the government of Cameroon to quench down the anger of irate population in Bia's region of origin. When some Cameroonians are more Cameroonian, writes the Guardian Post newspaper, government hurriedly responds to demands of protesters in Bia's region. Two ministers rushed to scene overnight to beg protesters, makes available 200 million francs CFA for electricity supply, and equally erects a project board to signal imminent tarring of road that triggered protest in that part of the country. We stay with the Guardian Post newspaper to talk about the Southwest region that is in shock as Secretary General at the Governor's Office dies. We are told by the said newspaper that the city of Buea slipped into mourning at sunrise Thursday, September 30, 2021, following news of the sudden death of the Secretary General at the Southwest Governor's Office, Dr. Armadou. He is reported to have died at the health facility in Douala, littoral region of Cameroon, following a brief illness. The Secretary General was last seen in public on Friday, 24 September 2021. This was during the visit of the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Bairobi, to the southwest region of Cameroon. The administrator was first of all admitted at the Buea Regional Hospital when he took ill on Saturday. He was reportedly rushed to Douala late Wednesday morning when his condition became critical. He gave up the ghost, according to the said newspaper, in the early hours of yesterday, September 30th, 2021. More details on page 3 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. Let's talk about Antique as digital transformation gains steam in Cameroon. Antique unveils app to secure administrative documents. The newspaper is telling us that an application developed by the National Agency for Information and Communication Technologies, Antique, dubbed Doc Authentic, which aims at securing and verifying administrative documents or authenticity of administrative documents, has been unveiled in Yaoundé, the political capital of Cameroon. The application was publicly presented Wednesday in Yaoundé at the start of a 3-day seminar with focus on securing administrative documents in the era of digital transformation. We now end with Cameroon Echoes. Cameroon Echoes newspaper is focusing on major national dialogue follow-up committee session. Southwest Population hails Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute as he went visiting the Southwest region. That was last week, to evaluate how far the recommendations of the major national dialogue have been implemented. And equally in Cameroon Echoes newspaper, COVID-19 third waves hit the northwest region of Cameroon. 631 new cases, 15 dead, 25,690 vaccinated so far. Those were the statistics revealed by the Public Health Ministry of Cameroon recently, talking about the third wave of COVID-19 that has hit the northwest region of Cameroon, with 15 deaths recorded. Meanwhile, over 25,690 so far are vaccinated. We stay with the Cameroon Echoes. Cameroon Echoes in the southwest region of Cameroon, where the delegate of of Southwest Delegate of Health, has been appointed as Director of Family Health at the Ministry of Public Health of Cameroon. And equally in Cameroon, ECHO Southwest Secretary General at the Governor's Office in the Southwest region of Cameroon is no more. The paper is telling us that he reportedly died on Thursday at a medical facility in Douala. He was last seen in public. That was on Wednesday. He was seen in public when the Minister of Agriculture came visiting the Southwest region of Cameroon. Thank you for staying with us. We are back in the studio to continue with our discussions this morning, and we are welcoming our resource person who is always with us here. He is Armadou Tanteh, a human rights defender. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you, and good morning once more, Mr. Lasha Kingsley, and good morning to the telespectators of my media prime television.
How is the human rights situation of Cameroon?
The human rights situation of Cameroon is continuously being very deplorable. The situation keeps worsening on a daily basis. Insofar as nothing positive is being done by the government in response to the numerous violations and abuses that we are recording on the ground on a daily basis.
Okay, let's kickstart Etape content with the Guardian Post newspaper, which is, asking a question which many Cameroonians watching at this time will or should be responding to. The Guardian Post is asking if some Cameroonians are more Cameroonians. As we all know, there were protests that erupted in Bia's region of origin that prompted the government to disburse over 200 million francs CFA for electricity supply and a project for the construction of the routes, which prompted or provoked the strike action, has already been put in place. We see billboards and signposts and all those kind of stuff announcing the reconstruction of those routes, which prompted the irate population to block the set route. What do you have to say to the worries of the Guardian Post this morning?
No, the Guardian Post is right here. So I think to the best of my knowledge, what happened today seems to be a clear indication with regards to the situation compared to the situation that we're having in the former southern Cameroon. Because the people, many of our leaders or leaders of Anglophone association have been protesting for quite some time now, but yet nothing positive was done with the government. The government keeps responding them in a very repressive manner, just to tell us a brief that is a clear indication that these are two different people with different historical background, different culture and all the rest, and the government is clearly showing to the people that the people of Southern Cameroon are completely a different people from the those of the South region where he hails from and other things.
Northwest and Southwest.
For people of Northwest and Southwest region, because this
British Southern
Cameroon. That's exactly the reason. Today, and unfortunately, the newspaper is saying this thing. Fortunately, on the day where the Southern Cameroonians are deemed to have had their own independence, 1st of October, that is being celebrated by those who believe in the Amazonian Republic or those who believe in the 1st of October as the day of their independence. So this day is being celebrated historically simply because the day is a day that we joined the former South Cameroonian joined La République du Cameroon in a year which is considered by many to be a trick game that was played by the United Nations and the British government to indirectly push Cameroon, the former South Cameroon to Cameroon to be colonized by other people.
They willingly accepted to join their brothers of the Republic of Cameroon. Nobody forced them.
It is believed that they willingly on that day, because if this treaty has been maintained since 1961, if we have been maintained with the status quo has been maintained today, I don't think we have been having the problem we are having today. We are believing that this was a trick affair by this organization, because within that 1961, even the federal constitution that was signed by these parties are not being respected by Cameroon government has been abrogated.
Can I come in?
Okay.
If the people of the Northwest and Southwest region, the former British Southern Cameroon, voted to join Nigeria, we wouldn't have been talking about that. They would not still have their land. No, they are talking about their land, because there were two options: either join the Federal Republic of Nigeria or join the Republic of Cameroon.
Yes, that's why I'm trying to say that it's believed to be a game. First of all, because the people had the third option to get independent on their own. The British on their part has claimed that was a report
which were never given. Let's focus on what the Guardian Post is talking about. You are a little bit getting out of the topic. The third option were never given or was never given. Let's focus on that particular issue in Bia's region of origin, where 200 million francs CFA has been disbursed for electricity, and the road construction works are almost beginning on that stretch of road.
Yes,
we saw two ministers biting cool.
Biting cool, right? That's why I was like making just a brief reference with regard to the situation that happened in the East region and the South region compared to the one here.
But it's not a clear indication that
our government accepted maybe due to the grievances of the lawyers and teachers in 2006. I don't think we ought to have been here where we are today. It's as if the government really wanted this thing. Was a program, was very programmed, and the government really wanted it to happen. So that's why this is.
Isn't it a clear sign that Cameroon has problem? Is not only the northwest and southwest. If you see, even in Bia's region of origin, people don't have electricity, they don't have potable water, they don't have roads.
I keep saying here that we have leaders who are cursed leaders who are not responsible.
Is the problem the system?
The problem is the system. The problem is the system. No, the problem is the system. Even if the system was moving on well, I don't think we would have been having all the problems we have in the Anglophone region. All these problems we're having today is because of the bad system, the authoritarian regime we have in place. So that's where we think all the.
So why can Cameroonians not collectively, come together and sort out their issues, probably by kicking the government out and putting in place a government that can deliver?
No, if the entire Cameroonian cannot come out to fight for this thing, that's why the Anglophones are waiting that we separate people from historical background and cultural ground, that we're separate people. They decided to come on their own to fight for their own rights. That's what we are seeing, what is going on the ground today, because the government has persistently refused to yield to the grievances. Because before the crisis started in 2016, you know very well that since the independent in 1961, there have been grievances. There's a group of people that have been advocating for either a change in system or a return to the federal system, like what we had in 1992, 1993, what was done in the AAC 1 and 1994. AAC2, these people came up with the same thing many Cameroonians are protesting for today, saying that they should return to the federal system. If not, they will declare their independence. And this thing has
what is the guarantee that a federal system is the solution that Cameroon needs?
I believe that before the two Cameroon came together, that this part was a federal system, state of its own, that was managing all the resources and all the resources. Since the Biad regime or this regime, the authoritarian regime came in since Armadou Ahijo was the president of Cameroon. They started marching the Anglophone Cameroonian, treating them like second-class citizens. So this is exactly the marginalization that has led to whatever we are suffering today in Anglophone region, in the Anglophone part of Cameroon.
So it means that the people in Bia's region of origin, they are also marginalized now.
No, the reality is that all Cameroonians are being marginalized. So the problem now is that if the Cameroonians have denied to come out together to fight for their interests, that this group of people, the Anglophone, have decided that we will fight for their rights. We will not wait for other people.
By separating the country, Etape can take, because they want a separate country. Is that fighting for rights?
They want a separate country. That is what they want. And the government here is talking about decentralization. But what we have been saying is that it is only on the dialogue table that we have a solution to the problem we are advocating for, whether separation or whatsoever. It is the dialogue table that will tell us exactly the.
Ok. Parlons à présent politique avec ces actes inciviques du RDPC lors du processus de renouvellement des organes de base. Eh bien, le journal Mutation qui titre le chef du MINAT, est mieux comme une cape. Quel est votre ressenti par rapport à cette titraille?
Thank you, Wasmo. This go in line with the same thing we're saying here, that is Cameroon, the entire system is bad. Our leaders we have a very bad system. CBTM is the ruling party, and this party was supposed to be an exemplary party to any other party. The example was supposed to be seen and felt everywhere they are. But when you see CBTM militant burning the house of the DO, and nothing is being done by the government, even with the strike we are talking about that started in former Southern Cameroon in 2016, in Anglophone region in 2016, there was never any issue of burning. They were just burning their tire along the route without destroying any public edifice. But this one has been done. Yet today we have not heard of anything that any arrest by any of those who did the act. No, we are only seeing other things.
We have information updates that those who were behind the burning of the residence of the DO. They have been arrested. So you can't independently say here
but cannot independently confirm the report as well. That's another problem. So these things are so when they are fighting, doing all these things, they should try to tell us that what we are claiming, they are claiming that is democracy in Cameroon is just a myth. It's just imaginary. There's nothing like democracy. But this goes in line with to tell us that the elections, virtually all the elections that are being held in Cameroon here are done in the way we already know. Because had it been the elections were credible and all the rest, just imagine CBTM within themselves that are fighting to this extent. Imagine when they are with their opponent, the opposition party.
Et si jamais le silence dont parle le journal Mutation face à cette situation perdue, quels sont les effets ou bien quelles conséquences plus ou moins positives ou bien négatives on peut encourir?
No, we have a lot of negative effects. So this goes. These are some of the things that we are. Okay, because the problem now is the leader. Those leaders who are advocating for the position in the places where these violence are taking place. Because it's the leaders that were supposed to calm their own calm or their own group of people. Because we know very well that each and everyone is fighting for his personal interest. Because it's politics, which is in everything about interest. So this leader will not try to calm the other. Do not accept to join with the other one. Because if you accept and the other one takes his position, it is all very obvious that tomorrow the other one might be nominated as a minister or a director somewhere, and he will lose. So each and everyone is doing everything possible to maintain his status quo so that he will have his own political favor from the regime in place.
Is the problem not Cameroonians? Do they not know? Know their civic education? Does it mean that they don't know a clear distinction between state institution and the political party? You say the problem is the system, and you have Cameroonians in the system. How do you explain the fact that Cameroonians of the ruling CPDM will go and set a state institution at place?
No, the problem, as you rightly said,
and then you turn around and blame.
No, the first thing that problem is the institution, and these institutions are being managed by individuals, Cameroonians. So that's the first thing we should know. And it's this same individual who is supposed to enlighten the youth or the younger ones to tell them that this is a state institution. And this one is that this is how this one is supposed to. First of all, in Cameroon, we don't even know whether there's a difference between the CPDM political party and the government itself. Because normally the government is a different thing from CBDM, but everything is being done. Sometimes you see the Minister of Higher Education signs some documents, like his communication person of CBDM. It seems as if he is instead talking on behalf of the government and not talking on behalf of CBDM, which is those are some of the confusion they are bringing in. So this is the thing they are doing because the system is confused in itself. So that's why we cannot have any meaningful thing or anything reasonable coming out of the system from the way I see things.
So what is the way forward?
Well, the way forward is the only thing that we need, and as we're saying that the dialogue with Cameroon. First of all, we're advocating for a dialogue, a system of dialogue where the parties. Well, let me say from the Anglophone region where the parties who are conflicting will come together and seek a durable solution to the problem we have in Cameroon. And we only think that this federation that we are talking about here might equally help the other people from the French Cameroon to unite Cameroon, to make Cameroon something more different than what we have today. And the third point I've said here is that we have a fair leadership in Cameroon. So we are equally advocating for a change in the leadership system of Cameroon, so that Cameroon will now, in fact, maybe the new blood will come in with new ideas and new everything that will change the system, that will change us from this archaic system of government that we have been going through for quite a long time now.
Okay, Etape, we gradually come to
voilà, avant de terminer, on va faire un coup de projecteur ou bien on va jeter un coup d'œil sur le tri hebdomadaire, le journal Le Soir, qui titre à sa grande une 35e journée mondiale de l'habitat sous le signe de l'accroissement de la production des matériaux de construction. Voilà, je vais poser la question à notre invité au moment où nous nous acheminons vers cette journée, bien qu'étant peut-être le Cameroun a un problème au niveau de l'habitat. Et maintenant, quel regard ou bien quelle suggestion pouvez-vous apporter? D'abord, faites-nous d'abord l'état des lieux au niveau de ce domaine, l'habitat.
We are talking about housing in Cameroon. We are gradually getting towards the International Day for housing, and we want to find out from you what is the state. As you know, many people have been coming to you, probably complaints being exploited by landlords, and the housing situation in Cameroon. What is the general state of affairs when it comes to that sector? Many people don't even have where to live.
I keep on saying that the first thing we have in Cameroon here is the issue of leadership, the problem of leadership, because our leaders felt the problem. When you look at the ministry itself, you realize that even there's a lot of things that ought to have been done. We talk about the houses, this one they provide, this social housing that is being built by the government. You realize that at the end, it is those who are working with the government. But meanwhile, there are a lot of people are outside. They're not having where to stay. But they don't have the opportunity to have a house, to have a place in such places. Equally talking about the issue of maybe land, the problem of land and housing and all the rest. So the problem here with the hierarchy, because sometimes we have problem. Somebody have problem with land. You have a land title. Some land title have two owners, two different land titles for a single land. Where is the problem coming from? The problem is coming from the system. I mean, there was some
one person builds, another one comes.
One person builds, another one comes, and the guy is telling you that he has equal have a land title. So what are we going to do? So the main problem, I continue to say that the main problem is at the top. So if this problem is able to, we are able to.
Et si on essayait de jeter aussi quelques anathèmes sur la population, qu'est-ce qu'on peut dire? Est-ce qu'il y a moyen?
No, it's true. The population is just disorder. Sometimes the government even deny that this place is not supposed to settle, but people decide to go and settle there. Despite all the risks that they have been, despite all the risks that are involved in the place, sometimes
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, despite all the risks that is involved, sometimes you see people are constructing in some terrible area with a lot of risks are concerned. Even when the government denied that don't construct in this place, they still go on and construct in the same place. Later on, we hear stories of a flood that has wiped the house away. They come, okay, we hear of the house collapsing and all the rest. So these are some of the risky zones that should be avoided by population.
So the problem with our ministry that is supposed to organize the sector, or the Cameroonians who are stubborn?
No, more than 80% of the problem is the ministry. The ministry itself, and our leaders are saying, and the remaining 20% might be for the population, for the Cameroonians.
Okay, thank you for coming, Armadou Tanteh. You are a human rights defender. You're working for an NGO in Cameroon. It was a pleasure having you as usual. Hope
Thank you very
have
much,
you
sir.
next week
Yes,
on the program. Thank you too for watching, televiewers of My Media Prime. The program was produced by Christain Tebong, and Etape, Quentin and myself, Lasha Kingsley, did the presentation. See you on Monday. Bye bye.